right. Forgot my link. Alright, I think I got everything live. Hi, my name's T.S. and I write comics. Like The Digger, which you can pre-order right now at your local comic book shop. It's basically What If Indiana Jones Hunted Shortround. And I also write Tokyo Fire for Professional Entropy. But I'm not here to talk about my comic books today unless you want to ask some questions. I'm here to talk about your comic book pull list. What are the comic books you're buying this week when you go into your shop on Wednesday, Thursday, whenever you go in? Because I know I'm picking up Maniac of New York and a few other books and kind of trying to round out my Christmas shopping. So I'm trying to figure out what else everybody else is buying, kind of what they're interested in this week. Vincent Spector, what's going on, dude? I'm doing well. The numbers are in for the Digger, which means I get to do more stuff like that, but it also means back to work, back to marketing stuff. I just had 2 pitches picked up at some smaller publishers I can't quite talk about yet. And so I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling excited. I'm trying to take a little bit of a break from writing today. I had a bunch of scripts due for December, and I'm almost all done. I've been like barreling through stuff. So I'm trying to take a break, go live, talk to some people, just take a break from the marketing emails and the nonstop writing, which I love. I love both of those things. They're a lot of fun, but my brain is a little fried. So I just wanted to come live and talk to some people and kind of hang out. How are you doing today? What are you picking up on Wednesday? Good to hear it, dude. I'm glad you're good. Slam Comics, what's going on? How are you doing today? What's on your pull list this week? Thomas, what's going on? I'm talking to you on like 5 different screens, dude. It is so hard. Like, in case you ever see me like checking out, it's the command center I have set up. I have different screens going on with the chat. Oh no, not this guy again. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm bugging you on like 5 different outlets. Sketching the Beast, what's going on? I was just working on some stuff for you. I got to get a hold of you on email, so look out for an email from me. Probably some point this week before Wednesday, if I can keep to my schedule. I'm really excited for some stuff I have to pitch you, man. Um, I've been pitching too much lately. I've been too much in the pitch brain. I was at a party the other day and I was playing the pitch game that got me started in writing comics. I used to play this game called Pitch for Pitch, where I would have people surround me and just yell out different like ideas for stories, like mashing up silly IPs. Like the most famous one I remember from my friend group was like Transformers, but Romeo and Juliet, and they would just make me tell them a story on the spot. And because I've been pitching publishers and other artists and other gigs have been opening up, I've been trying to get back in that mindset, and apparently it's just bled over, and that became the entire thing that what me and my buddies did that night was just play pitch for pitch. So it's just going too much. I believe I found it through social media sketching, but if you want to hit me up here, just DM me and make sure I have the right one so I don't send a pitch sheet to somebody who is not you. Not that it would be a big deal. They would just get a bunch of listed ideas and descriptions for stories that they don't want to draw with me. So, the normal thing that I do when I pitch people. Bug Boy, what's going on? I'm writing a bonus story for my one shot. Love to hear it, man. Like, that's so cool. Like, you're getting so many ideas and so many stories that you're just putting in bonus ones. That's how you know you're doing it right. Need to run a log line by you. Please hit me, Thomas. Like, if you want to hit me on Discord, or if you want to, put it here in the chat and see what everybody else thinks too, that's totally cool. Sam, what's going on, dude? Thank you so much for your email. And the song, dude, that was so cool. Slam Comics says, I've always been a for Batman, so just picked up the latest of Matt Fraction and Jimenez's Batman run, and of course, Absolute Batman. Also picked up Hellblazer, Original Sin, and Battle Beast. Okay, so I picked up almost all the exact same thing last week, right down to Battle Beast, and I also love Absolute Batman. I was just catching up on the run, and it is just so good. Like everything from the Absolute Universe is amazing. I love Matt Fraction. Jimenez just speaks for itself, right? Amazing art. But Matt Fraction is one of the people I learned how to write comics from. So I've been so excited for the Batman run. I will say I'm not caught up on it yet, though. So please, no spoilers for Fraction's Batman run. Vincent Spector says I bought 20 Scout titles, so I'm catching up on reading. Oh, that's so crazy. Scout Comics, man. Kind of a controversial figure when it comes to like the smaller publishers, but I mean, there's some golden like the comic books were never the issue with Scout, right? They put out some really awesome titles. Sketching the Beast. That sounds like fun. I mean, it is. I'm just always too busy. But again, if you ever see me and it seems like I'm way too busy, I'm doing way too much stuff, it's because I don't sleep. Like I just I'm always working because this is the coolest job ever. So it's work and it's a lot, but it's also so much fun. So I never want to stop doing it. Thomas Ryan says the riders have come to set the apocalypse in motion, but one queen stands in their way. Oh, I love that, dude. Yeah, I think that's a good log line. I mean, because like you know what the riders are, you have their goal, you have the antagonist. There's not much more I would add to that. If you could put something about the setting in there, is the only way I think that you could enhance it. Because I mean, you have the who, you have the what, and you have the why. Like if you could have the where in there, I think that'd be pretty perfect. T.S. whom writes comics. Exactly. Alright, Sketchy Beast sounds good, dude. I will make sure to hit you up. Wait, what? What's the drama with Scout? At this point, I only buy indie titles. I mean, Vincent Spector, like that's a good way to go about it. There's so many good indie titles. You could get lost just reading indie and like ignore the big two if you really wanted to because there's so many books. But that could kind of be said for any portion of the comic book industry. I think sometimes people forget that comic books is a medium. It's not a genre, right? And there's so many different publishers from, huge to really small that are putting out just amazing titles. So there's always something new to read, and you can get lost in just one corner of all of it. Just like if you only watched reality TV, you could just watch reality TV and never watch a movie ever again, right? Comic books is the same way. You could really get lost just in indie titles if you wanted to. Joshua 419X has just started reading manga last week. I might start picking up comics too. Any suggestions? I prefer horror. Oh, for manga, I mean Junji Ito, easily. Uzumaki, really, really good if you're looking for horror manga. If you're looking for horror comics, SIKTC by James Tynion, Something is Killing the Children. Just really easy, those two. Like, you're going to go for a long time. I'm really enjoying Maniac of New York right now. That's an Aftershocks comic. That's basically, a Jason type. Comes to New York every few years, and New York just kind of adjusts to it. It's kind of a parody, satire on our current political climate here in the U.S. I highly recommend it. Something That's Killing the Children is, hard to describe too much. It's kind of Buffy for a new generation, if you want to get really reductive. There's so much more to it, but it's about a monster killer hunting monsters, and they only target children, and children are the only ones who can see the monsters, and it also follows the organization that has to clean up after the fact. After these monster attacks, and they really don't care about who they take up as long as people don't remember the monsters, and there's a lot of drama that ensues from that. So check out both of those. They're amazing. That's right, 6 Kills. I am also live there. Oh man, how's everybody doing over there? It looks like I'm frozen. Oh no. Let me see if I can restart it. Sorry if you were watching me there and I disappeared. Alright, so the drama about Scout. I don't want to get too much into it, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. I just know that there were some issues with who was being paid and who wasn't being paid, and a lot of creators left Scout at the time. Again, I'm not privy to much of it, but that's kind of the gist of it, is people weren't being paid as far as I'm aware, and so they left, and there was a large exodus of Scout titles. I don't know where they're at right now, so I can't say too much beyond what I know, and what I know is that people were saying they weren't paid, and they took their books and went home. And a lot of them were caught up in NDAs and agreements that they have with Scout Comics and couldn't work elsewhere. And I know that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including myself. I don't like the idea that because you didn't want to work with one company, you couldn't work elsewhere, and that really stinks. Absolute Retro Nerd, I am doing well. How are you doing? What are you picking up for your pull list on Wednesday? What are you doing this week? I gotta know. What's everyone picking up at the store? While I try to get the stream back online. The bonus story is basically a Chimera horror movie. Oh, I love that, dude. Thomas Moran noted. All right, I hope that helps, dude. And I can give you some more thoughts elsewhere, though. Thomas Moran says, Scout isn't as nice to their creators, at least from what I've heard. Exactly. That's basically what I've heard as well. But it's hard because a lot of it is hearsay. You know, they're not hiring me for anything. Nor have I asked, I guess. But, so it's hard sometimes to go, well, this is what's happening when, you know, we don't know firsthand. Berserk, if you want to be sad. Yeah, Berserk is another great horror / action manga. But it is depressing, and it's kind of messed up all the way around. So keep in mind that. Lots of trigger warnings. I think I'm in an odd spot. Most of what I was reading has ended recently. Well, honestly, are you in an odd spot, or are you on the precipice of finding something new, right? Because if everything's ended that you were kind of keeping up with, now's the time to jump on to some new books and see what else you can do. The spin-off House of Slaughter is fantastic too. It really is. Honestly, everything in the SIKTC universe has been rad. I haven't been disappointed by a single thing. James Tynion, as always, you know, just destroying it over there. SIKTC is MIB but fighting closet monsters. That's a great way to put it, Thomas. That's a great pitch. And I'm back over there, over on the IG. YouTube was fine for you. Okay, yeah, it was one of the other ones. Oh man, that tanks. Non-competes do stink. Like, that's just so true. Sorry I'm a little bit behind on the chat. It was scrolling kind of fast. Probably Walking Dead, Deluxe, or Spawn, whatever, comes out this week between the two. My pull list is small. Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be, right? Like, I was talking about this a while ago in a couple other comments, but over on the Comics Unmasked podcast, when I see these giant pull list people, when people are like live doing the new comic book day videos and they show their hauls on social media, I'm always so impressed by the giant stacks that they have. Kiku, I'm back. Yo, what's going on? Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm always so impressed by their giant pull list stacks that they come home with. I'm like, I can't afford to buy that many floppy copies in 1 week. Are you crazy? One of the reasons why I buy a lot of trades is so I can keep up with multiple series at once. I try to support as many as I can in single issues because, you know, as you've probably heard me talk about with The Digger, it's hard to get a series to the trade if people aren't buying the single issues. But it is also really expensive, so I'm always really excited, but I worry for their wallets when they come home with like a new comic book day haul that's this tall. So crazy. I haven't done the research yet to see what I can add yet. Oh man, like, let me know where you end up with, or if you want suggestions. Like, I would love to help out. I would love to I'm really interested to hear what you do land on. I've been having a lot of fun going back through Invader Comics stuff. Do Not Disturb right now is in stores. Of course, I'm a shill for Invader Comics because that's where my comic book is published, but they're also awesome. But Do Not Disturb is really cool. Check that one out. I've been having a lot of fun diving back into Aftershock Comics, just because I feel like their output hasn't been as like prolific, right? Like, they don't put out 50 comic books at a time, so I feel like sometimes they're a little bit more curated than other publishers. So it's been really fun just seeing how much awesome stuff is over on that indie side of the creator own. I'm tired, not enough time to stay on top of previews. Oh, it's impossible to stay on top of all the previews. Like, that can't be done. Sometimes I'll see people who have that, like, encyclopedic knowledge of what's coming out this week, and when I see that and you don't work in a comic book store, I'm just so impressed. I'm like, how do you have that knowledge and still know, you know, like, what your name is. I feel like that SpongeBob meme, you know, like from the episode, like you threw out his name. That's my entire life, right? Like I don't remember other things because I have other knowledge in my head, and I never know what's coming out. That's why. That's partly why I do these streams. Is like, hey, what are you guys buying? So I know what to ask for when I go into the shop because I'm not always caught up on everything. I prefer usually it all at once instead of waiting, so I love trades. I totally get that too, and I also prefer trades, you know, getting multiple issues at once. The problem is like the support aspect, right? Because making a comic book is expensive. Publishers are really um I wouldn't say stingy because that's not really the case, but like they have to be really calculated in what which books they put out. And if a series isn't selling in the single copies, you might not see it get all the way to the trade. Especially when it comes to some of the smaller publishers. They got to make sure that the profits are there. So I try to buy as many in single issues as I can to make sure the series gets to that point. I think it's a little bit easier with the big two because they're going to put out one trade of most things unless the series is completely a flop. But it's hard when you want to support it, but you also need to survive, and it's easier to read in the trade. I've always been a proponent for trades and graphic novels, but the reality is not all series are going to get there if they don't sell in the singles. That's not your problem. You know, that's my problem as a comic book creator, but that is partly why I go back to it. I'm reading Look Me in the Eye and Skinbreaker. Skinbreaker is so amazing. I have not heard of Look Me in the Eye. Who does that one? I need to know, please. Wish I had more time to read some comics. I'm so behind. I'm behind with heart. I'm behind with reading. I'm so sorry, Sketchy dude. It's tough when you get behind on that stuff. As a writer, I can't have output without input. That's always been my stance. So I feel like it's partly part of my job and part of my homework for my job is to read as much as I can, as often as I can. So my reading habits are I read about a trade a day. Even if it's single issues, I read 4 or 5 issues if I can, depending on what's out. I keep up with as many single issues as I can per week. Again, you have to balance that with budgets and just time. But the way that it balances out is I read about 4 to 5 issues to 6, basically one trade every single night. And that's just been my habit for a long time. Basically, ever since I started writing comics, I've done a trade a day. So it's hard for me to fall asleep without reading, you know, that many comic books before I go to bed. You can just look up previews for the new week on a weekend and place on your holds. And that is a lot of times what I do, but I don't always know what's coming out. And part of it is like if you go to like, you know, comicbook.com or whatever, you know, place that you look up all the stuff coming out this week, is you don't always get blurbs. Sometimes you just get titles from places. And I like to hear what the zeitgeist is talking about. Like what everybody else is talking about. Kiku Light, I have not checked out your comic yet, but I have it on the list. That's going to be what I'm reading this week. I'm reading a couple different indie books, if I can count your book as an indie book. I'm reading your book. I'm reading the rest of Staccato by a friend of mine. I definitely recommend that. If you're into like the punk zine indie webcomics, please go check out Staccato. I'll go grab a copy before I end the stream. That's by my buddy Tony, like Cap. Please check out Staccato. And then Slam Comics says, do you read a lot? Yes, I read constantly. Both comic books, novels. It's a big part of my job, and I feel like I don't know, kind of like my duty. Like if I'm going to write comics, I feel like I need to know what's going on in comics. I need to have that knowledge, and I need to make sure that I'm not just regurgitating something that somebody else has already done, but poorly, because I'm not knowledgeable of it. So I feel like it's my job to be up on it. Using Leo Comic Geeks is the only way I can organize it and know what's coming. Leo Comic Geeks changed the game for me a little bit. I didn't really pay too much attention to it until a couple of people who are readers of my books said, hey, it's really exciting that you have a Leo Comic Books page. And someone had to explain it to me, and I was like, this is the coolest website I've ever seen. I had never heard of it. You know, I would call it IMDb for comic books, except for it's so much more than that, because you can also keep your wish list, your pull lists on there, and keep track of so many other parts of the industry. And so I'm a big fan of it. Love it on there. I think my page is a little bit behind. I don't know how to update it myself. If someone is, you know, intimately familiar with League of Comic Geeks, please let me know. I would love to add some of my other credits on there and update. There's a couple of books where I was just the editor and it says that I'm the writer, and there was a couple of books where I'm the writer and it says I was the artist. And I only ever do covers. If you ever see I'm the artist of an interior story, it's wrong. I don't do that. The T.S. Luther, what's going on, Ty? How you doing, dude? Can't say we love you, man. Love you too, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. Look Me in the Eyes is from Mad Cave. I thought you were saying Look Me in the Eyes and you were about to tell me something serious. Like there's been something in my beard this whole time. But heck yeah, from Mad Cave. Mad Cave is just there again. I talk about how Aftershock had kind of like slowed down with their output. Mad Cave has just been ramping everything up. They've had so many titles. Just like from what was announced this summer has been crazy, right? I was paying a lot of attention when they were doing their talent search, and I was kind of checking all of their solicits, and there was a new book announced every day during the summer. It was wild. I mean, it was coming out of New York Comic Con, so it makes sense they were saving all the announcements for there. But if anybody was worried that the smaller publishers that were leveling up wouldn't be able to keep up with someone like Image, just look at Mad Cave. The second they were hitting it, they were like, we're going to put out more and more comics. I love to see that. I love, like, if you're going to get money from an IP or licensed book and people are excited about Speed Racer and a lot of the other license that they're doing, and you just take that money and go home, that's a little bit sad. But Mad Cave put their money where their mouth was and said, we're going to make even more comics. And that's my favorite thing to see from a publisher. Will, sir, what's going on? How you doing? What are you picking up this week for your pull list? Sketching the Beast. Yeah, true fan and writer, my friend. As an artist, it's output 1000%. That's different, right? I think I have the privilege of not being paid to always be working, right? Like as an indie comic book writer, and like I get gigs, I would say more regularly than some people in the indie space. I don't always have a new script that has to be done. I don't always have a deadline for a script because I'm not always getting work. I'm starting to get a little bit more work from publishers, and some of my indie stuff is happening. But because I get hired for a lot of other creator-owned books and other indie stuff, it's a lot of people that are just like me, making books in their spare bedroom, you know? And that's those types of gigs really die down during the holidays, right? People aren't hiring me for a lot of, you know, self-published work around December because they don't have money for stuff like that. It's around the holidays when taxes come back. My you know, self-publishing gigs that I get from other, you know, indie creators will probably ramp back up. But for now, it's like I have a little bit more time to read, and I try to make sure it's part of it, you know. TS, love seeing your post, man. Get it. I appreciate you, Will, sir, and I do still really want a commission from you for the Digger. I promised to hit you up. I know I was going to hit you up after Motor City Comic Con. I'm going to be honest, didn't make a lot of money at Motor City Comic Con. I did not sell nearly as much as I wanted to, so I was not flushed with cash. But I do still want to commission something from you. I promise I will hit you up soon. A lot of it too is like when I get money from commissions or gigs or from a show, a lot of it has to go back into interior art for a book, because as an indie guy, as someone who's in the smaller rungs of publisher work, a lot of my job is making another pitch, making another book to pitch to publishers so I can keep, you know, the treadmill going, keeping artists employed and stuff. So while I would love to buy more original art and buy more comics and, you know, commission more stuff, a lot of it has to be for the interior art, because that's what makes the machine, you know, go brrr. Thomas says, also, I want my copy of the Digger signed at a con so I can send to CGC and get the first graded. Dude, that'd be so cool. I will sign whatever you want, dude. Obviously, I can always send you a copy when it comes through. I am doing a signing I can announce at Vault of Midnight Comics in Detroit on the 17th. I just got word from Invader Comics that comic book store is excited to have me there. So if you're in the Detroit area in January, around the 17th, please stop by and say hey, get a couple of signed copies. This is the first time I've ever been invited to do a signing in my home state. I was invited to a few places out in Jersey, but I am excited that they're excited about it. The cool thing is like a lot of these shops that are buying copies and had people getting pre-orders, they were so surprised. They were like, who are you? We've never heard of you, and we've had lots of people come in wanting your book, and this other shop told us that, you know, you were selling well. Where did you come from? You popped up out of nowhere. And that's been wild to see, and I really don't know how to answer, right? Like, I've been doing this for a while, but the Digger is the first one that's really gotten a lot of traction. So it's been cool to kind of surprise them, and surprise them enough that they wanted to get me to come in for a signing, which is really neat. I forgot about I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. It's pretty fun too. Yes, that one is rad. Please go and check that one out. Other than money, how was Motor City? Money aside, Motor City was amazing. It was game changing for me, just networking wise. I got to meet a lot of friends that I only knew from social media there, like other comic book creators. I got to hang out with so many. Artsmith Press, so Sam and Josh from Artsmith Press, they do a lot of stuff for like Lucky 33 Comics. They have their graphic novel Evocation. I got to meet Tony Cat from Staccato. I got to meet, oh man, just so many people. Sean Peacock from All Sorrows. He just did Blood Honey for IDW, which I've known him like through, you know, kind of passing and mutual stuff on Instagram. We all got to get dinner. I got to meet a couple of printers that are local here in Michigan, like Glorp. So many cool creators, so many cool artists that I wanted to meet. I got to meet Mark Waid, which was life-changing. I cried in front of Mark Waid. I apologize, Mark, if you ever see this. I'm sorry I did that, but I appreciate you for letting me cry and hand you my books. He made me sign them for him, which is what made me cry. So, again, game-changing. I got to meet so many awesome fans. Some of you are in the comment section. Thank you so much for stopping by. So that part was awesome. I got to impress my wife, which I always appreciate. She got to see me sign books for people who liked my work. So I love going to cons. It's not about the money. The money really just makes sure I can do it again. That's the only part that I only ever care if I make money for those things. It's so I can keep it going. It all goes back into the ecosystem. I'm privileged enough to, when I make money for comic books, it doesn't always have to go towards all of my bills. I make enough money on the side doing side gigs. My wife works and funds a lot of my operation when it comes to day-to-day paying bills. We live really lean. I have technically 2 other adult roommates, but there's 2 families in my household. There's 8 of us that live in this house, which makes it a lot cheaper and much more affordable for the 2 families. I like to joke that we live in the later seasons of Full House because there's 2 whole families in our house. But because of all of these things that we've done on purpose, my comic books don't have to generate a ton of revenue for myself. Most of my books, if they make money, go to the artist, go to the publishers, go to the people that helped me make it so I can make more. If I ever technically make money, if there's ever a profit for myself, it goes into another book because I'm not so big that I can sit back and take a paycheck. I need to keep putting out more books to get more credits, get more attention. But yeah, Motor City Comic Con, to answer your question, TLDR was a lot of fun. Far from Detroit, but wish you a busy signing. Oh, thank you so much, Div. I hopefully we can cross paths at some point. As you told me all of your credits the other day, I'm like, whoa, legend. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and I apologize for anything that comes off as amateurish. I am still new to working in like the publishing space, into comic shops, and getting distribution. The Digger is my first book that's actually reached a wide audience. Kip Terry, yeah, one more question. Just a little hamster. Worry a hat inside to cover up the fact that due to your insecurity you're balding prematurely. Wow, somebody's really mad in that chat. Well, I'm not balding prematurely yet. I promise I don't wear the hat to hide my hair. It's more because I'm cold. Oh man, but I'm sorry if you're having a rough day. You can take it out on me if that makes you feel better, but it's gonna be okay. And if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. Or if you just need to hurl more insults, that's okay too. But I promise it's gonna be all right. But I'm not upset because I'm not balding yet. There's still time. It'll happen soon. I tell my wife all the time that she'll know when I start to bald because I'll probably just shave it. I probably should start doing more on lives and doing the TikTok stuff and wherever with my hat off to show people that I have hair while I still have it, because I know it's not going to last forever. I'm in my my mid-30s and it's not going to stay for too much longer, but gotta enjoy it while I have it, right? Wilster says, no worries, man. Let's still do something whenever the timing is right. We will make it work. Oh, I I'd love to hear that, dude. I want to work with you really bad. I love your artwork. And if you like tokusatsu stuff, Super Sentai, anything like that, please go and check out Wilser's art. It's amazing. Lex says, Ordained #1 this week. Can't wait. The movie will be phenomenal. I know it. Oh, heck yeah. Please go check that out. Comic Talk, how are you doing? I am doing well. How are you doing? What are you picking up this week? Go and check out Comic Talk's comic book reviews, TV show reviews. They do a lot of amazing stuff. Great opinions. What are you picking up? I'm really curious. Thank you so much, Thomas. Tomonomicon says, tell Invader to send you to the West Coast, dang it. I don't know if Invader has that kind of cash flow. They're on the West Coast. They're out of California. Mike Perkins and team, most of them are in California. But, you know, if the Digger sells well, you never know. I might be able to keep going and go further. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, at least not for this first trade. How long have I been doing social media? I think I got on here 3 years ago, maybe closer to 4. I hope it hasn't been 5. It's 2025. I think I got on in 2020, but I've never done too much because I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to do social media just to do social media. I mostly come on here to talk about my comic books and to talk about comic books in general. So I think taking it seriously probably about 3 years ago. Sketching the Bee says, I'm going to put out a video out later about Steel City Comic Con, but it was okay. That's awesome. Like, how did you do? Did you do okay sales-wise? Did you have fun? Who'd you network with? I'm always interested in hearing more about cons because that's something that I didn't start doing until this year. Dave says, I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con next year at table BB09. If you get there, come say hi. I definitely will, and everybody else should go check them out too. Again, like getting out west, though, it's so expensive for me. I'm in Michigan. I'm in the Midwest here. Getting to Motor City Comic-Con was a battle, right? I don't know if anyone knows this story, but the first time I asked, it was because a publisher was interested in talking to me. I knew somebody from their marketing department. They liked Tokyo Fire, and they were like, hey, this TS guy's doing stuff. Let's talk to him about a book. And they were going to send somebody to my booth. And they're like, so obviously you're going to be at Motor City Comic Con in Detroit. We'll see you then. And I applied for Motor City Comic Con, and they said, no, you've never tabled before. You have no pictures of a table. We haven't heard of you. And they denied me getting a table. And I had to go back to this publisher and be like, hey, I didn't get a table. And I've never talked to them since, so I kind of missed my opportunity there. But I didn't want that to happen ever again. So this year, that was a big side quest for me. I did libraries, and I did farmers markets and local festivals to build up my table. And eventually, I was able to get enough to get to Motor City Comic Con. Gotta run. Have a great day. Oh, thank you so much, Div. Have a good one. Kiku says, if you do read my comic, keep it in mind that I was kind of a beginner when I made it. By Evolution is coming. Oh, I will definitely check it out, and I will keep that in mind. I say the same thing for some of my earlier stuff. I did an anthology a long time ago, and Kiku, please plug your book for everybody else who isn't already planning on reading it tonight. Make sure you put it in the comments so people can go and check it out, and I'll shout it out as well. But when I started, I did an anthology called Growing Up. It's a little rough around the edges. I had an amateur artist who hadn't done a lot of stuff before, and it was the first comic book I ever wrote, and not a lot of people have read it. And when people do read it, they always have nice things to say, but I can tell that they're like, this is not as good as Tokyo Fire or Helena Bash or The Digger, because it was the first thing I ever wrote. And that's the thing, like, you can always keep that in mind, and you're always going to grow, but completing a book, no matter how amateurish, no matter how fresh you were to it, is still impressive to me, because a lot of people don't ever make it that far. It's hard to make a comic book, and getting one done is a feat upon itself, whether it's good or bad, and that's all subjective. But getting one finished is way more impressive than you think, and but I will keep that in mind that you were a beginner at the time. Actual comic book creator stuff, that's awesome. Did you have help with the booth? I mean, my wife came with me, if that means anything. My publisher, Professional Entropy, that's the publisher that I own a piece of. They helped pay for me to get there, so I didn't have to pay for it all out of pocket. Shout out to John, I appreciate you, buddy. So they helped me with that, but when it comes to setting up, it was just a lot of doing it myself, learning the ropes. My booth isn't super extravagant. I have art prints behind me hanging. I have my comic books on the right side and like my card, and on the left I have a few other like merch pieces from my different comic books, like my stickers and scripts and stuff like that. So it's a pretty simple one. I have a banner up front, but doesn't I don't need a ton of help with it. It's awesome when our spouses are also fans and help support us emotionally, so that's so cool to see. So, I mean, my wife is my biggest fan. She's my biggest supporter. She not only helps, me by funding everything because she kept her day job when I quit mine to make comic books. So she literally makes my entire career possible. But she's also a massive fan. She reads just as many comic books as I do. And she pays attention. She's the first person to read every script that I create. And this was the first time she got to go with me to a con. I've been doing a lot of smaller ones. And because she works a different schedule than me, she wasn't able to go to any of those. So this was the first one she got to go with me to, which was rad. Talking comics, what's going on, dude? I am Kevin Davis. Jesus, this guy is everywhere. He just won't leave me alone. Hey, you came into my chat, buddy. I didn't come into your chat. What's going on, dude? How are you doing today? What are you picking up this Wednesday for your pull list? What are you reading? Mr. Midlife, how you doing, dude? Will, sir. Oh, man, I appreciate that. No, I appreciate you, and thank you so much for your patience, and, like, I mean it. Like, I'm so excited to work with you someday. Sketching says, hey, are you free any Wednesday night at 7 p.m. EST? I definitely am. I do a family dinner with my in-laws every Wednesday at 5 EST, but I can cut that short. And if we want to go live, if you want to do a business meeting of some sort, pitch meeting, whatever, I'm totally down to make that work. Just a chance to come and talk with you, dude. Agony, how you doing? Bad Guy Entertainment. I'm an indie writer and about to drop my first one-shot end of the month. Oh, that's so exciting! Please plug it in the chat, and I'll read it out loud. Where we're at, what's the name of it, what's the pitch for it. I'm really excited for you, though. Congrats. Bad Guy says, any tips on working booths and such, and how to get into the bigger cons? So, 2 tips, okay? So, first off, if you're trying to get sales, if you're trying to meet fans, make new fans, just go and plan on making friends. That's your only goal when you step in. Ask people how they're doing, ask people about their cosplays, ask them if they've seen anything awesome, because you don't get to leave your booth very often. Be genuine, be earnest. Don't try to sell something to everybody. Just go and make friends with the people that are walking by. The sales will come. The second part of that is do every small con, festival, farmers market, library event, anywhere that will let you set up a table and hawk your comics. Because then you will have proof, you can learn the ropes, you can show them what you've done, you can bring that resume to the larger cons, show off your booth and how it's evolved over the years, show what it looks like now, show the books that you're selling, and they can see that you've done it before. That's what got me into the bigger cons. It also helps as you get more publisher gigs, as I can show who else I've worked with. That's helped, my rising star get to the bigger cons. And then once you get in, then you can use those bigger cons as your resume. Because I tabled at Motor City Comic Con, almost every other con that I'm working with sees that as, oh, he's good enough, he knows what he's doing, he can table at a big con like that, he can probably table at ours. I don't know what that means for something like New York City Comic Con or San Diego Comic Con or any of the larger cities, but all the other stuff I've done in the Midwest has allowed me in because I've tabled at Motor City and my table looks professional enough. So those are my tips. I hope it works for you. Wilson says, I love Tokyo Fire. Such a vibe in the story. Thank you so much. Tokyo Fire was a blast. It was my first foray into like a serious comic. Getting a professional artist working with me, getting publishers involved. Tokyo Fire was kind of my coming out party when it comes to working in comics. If you don't know, Tokyo Fire is my cyberpunk comic book that's basically 2 goobers in a cyberpunk dystopia. It's called Lower Tokyo. It's irradiated and it's a slum, and they steal something they shouldn't have stolen, and it ends up getting them in trouble with both sides of the law. Superpowered cops, superpowered criminals, and a madman that's going to burn the entire city down. And it's kind of how they get involved with it and all of the shenanigans that ensue. It's a lot of fun. It's very much inspired by things like Foolie Cooley and Akira and Scott Pilgrim. Sky Hawkins does the art. She's my co-creator on it. It only has issue 1 out right now from Professional Entropy. You can go and check that out there. But we're doing a reprint campaign over on KS in 2026, and we're putting out the rest of Volume 1. Because I've done better and I've sold more comic books, we can afford to do that. So we're doing issues 2 and 3 in a one shot for one of the characters, and then a volume 1 trade. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please go check it out at my website, can'tbekilledcreations.com, or the publisher's website, professionalentropy.com. I'm ecstatic when I hear your thoughts about my comics. I'm super excited to talk to you about your comics, Kiku. And like I said, please pitch them again in the comment section. I'll read it out loud so other people can go check it out. I love that she supports you so much. That's so great, man. Yeah, dude, my wife's the best, man. Like, she's the only reason why I can do anything. She's my best friend, too. And, man, it's been my dream, like, since I was a little kid, to have a partner in crime that loves comic books as much as me, and she does. And she reads everything. And honestly, because she's so detached from the zeitgeist of, like, working in comic books and which creators are new, which creators are, hot right now, she just goes on vibes, and she gets the books that she's excited about, and she goes in and just picks it up. This cover looks cool, and buys comics. And I'm so much caught up in trying to find out what's popular. If it's not popular, why? And these creators, that creator, who's doing the variant covers for stuff. So I do end up with a lot of things that are popular and a lot of stress for my pull list, and she just goes on vibes. So we get so many eclectic books that I wouldn't have picked up myself. And that's been really rad. Plus, having another avid comic book reader in the household means when I ask for comic books, I don't have to ask for every single comic book. Whatever I don't ask for, she usually ends up on her pull list or the stuff that she's going to get. So, you get twice as many comics, which is really fun. He knows you, man. I'll message you. Gonna pop off for now. I'll send the info over. Keep rocking. Oh, thanks, dude. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for the tips. Very helpful. It's no problem, Bad Guy Entertainment. I hope it helps. And please let me know what you're working on. Check Tokyo Fire out, everyone. It's so good. Thank you so much, Wilser. I appreciate you. I mean, when it comes to talking about my older stuff, I think I don't do it as much because I talk about The Digger a lot, because that's the book that's in stores right now. That's my big break comic book, right? Like, that's the book that's going to get me more jobs in comics. But I love talking about my older books. So if you ever have questions for any of the other stuff I've put out or where to find them, feel free to ask. But still, I gotta know, what's everybody working on? What are the new books that you're putting out soon? And what are the books that you're picking up on Wednesday? Anything that I haven't mentioned? Anything that you're like, how are you not talking about this book? Wilser says The Digger is great too. Oh, thank you so much, dude. I just proofed issue 3. I just got the art from Sam Goodalin, so that one's getting ready to head to solicit soon. The Digger issue 2 is available to pre-order at your local comic book shop right now. And I know you haven't read issue 1 yet, but people are really enjoying it. People are really excited about it. So if you want to get your hands on issue 1 and issue 2, go and tell your shop right now so they can make sure they have it. I think issue 2 is going to be up for pre-order until January 14th, right around there, right around when issue 1 is coming out. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're heading into shops and asking for it. It might be earlier. It might be closer to January 1st. Bleeding Ink, hi. How's it going, dude? Well, sir, I'm not working on any. What? You mean your amazing art isn't available for any interiors right now? Man, we gotta... but you probably have a lot in your commission queue. I know we were talking about that before, but... I always have trouble going, I wish I could see more of people's art in interiors, because if you don't absolutely love doing interior art, it's hard to recommend it. As someone who's done both interiors and covers, I can tell you that cover work pays more. Commission work pays more. When you get into interior art, it's for the passion, it's for the love of the game, and it's to get more opportunities to work on bigger books and to work on more books if you want to go that way with your career. So it's hard for me to go, you should do more interior art. It takes up more time and pays less. But that is the truth of it, right? But selfishly, I love seeing your art, and I want to see more of it in interior because you get more art, Agony says, I'm just doing Frog and Firefly concepts and the Wandering storyboard sketches. Oh, that's so cool, dude. I'm so excited to be working on that book with you. I can't wait till we have a little bit more time to go over through some of the concepts and get started on pages, but no rush. I'm loving seeing all of your concept work so far. Books at the moment, just my commission queue. Yeah, man, I get it. Bleeding Ink Comics. I have my book Psychic Revolution Volume 1 in the shop, inspired by X-Men and Saint Seiya manga. Oh, heck yeah. I'll definitely check that out. Volume 2 coming out soon. You're waiting on Volume 4. Totally fair. and rethinking surrogate space moms and the orphan and the robe on the redraw list. I mean, listen, dude, I'm totally down. I still have a script for you for surrogate space moms whenever we're ready. So many books to draw, right? So many things to work on, but part of the benefit of working with a writer is while you've been drawing all this stuff and working on concepts, I've been writing away. So there's still other stuff to work on when you're ready. Well, it says, I need to send you the digital copy of the book I did interiors for. Please, Will, sir, I would love to do that. I'm extremely interested. Or just send me the link so I can buy a copy to make sure, more of the books get made. I will happily do that as well. Cover art is a head scratcher for me. Cover art is tough. The reason why I get hired to do cover art isn't because my art is especially fantastic. It's usually a friend needs a cover. And my art style is similar to... if we have Sean Murphy at home or Scotty Young at home. Those are like the two art styles I work in. And it's really just, hey, I can't afford to hire somebody else to do variant art who's a professional. TS will do a cover art for me. I can't do interiors because I work too slow. So if you wanted an interior interior art from me for your comic book or for one of my own, it would take me 6 years to do a few pages. It takes me about a month to do a cover. And that's way, way too slow if you want to do this professionally. It doesn't matter how good it looks. So I don't often take a lot of that work. I'm more of a writer anyways. The doing variant covers and stuff came about because when we did Tokyo Fire's Kickstarter and we got picked up by a publisher, Professional Entropy, they kind of said, hey, we should do variant covers for this. And I couldn't afford to hire another person to do a variant cover. And Sky was so busy doing the rest of the book, she couldn't do another cover. So I learned how to draw to do the variant cover for Tokyo Fire issue 1. So that's where that came about. Some people saw the variant cover. I don't know if I have a copy around here. But some people saw the cover art and hired me to do their covers. So that's kind of how it came about. It's not a thing that I always love. Bad Guy Entertainment says, a society of people trapped inside the crater of a volcano. An accident forces them to make a devastating decision, strengthen their home, or finally escape. Ashy Skies is the title. That's a great pitch. I love that. I will definitely check that out, and you all should check it out too. Pax, what's going on? Dude, I just emailed you. Sorry if it was a little bit short, but I loved your designs. Me and Pax are working on a one-shot comic book, and we were kind of discussing the designs for it. Maybe it's a mech. Maybe it's something else. Who knows? Maybe you'll see it one day. But I loved your designs, dude, especially the Super Sentai-inspired one, which is, you probably read my email, and that's exactly what I said in that one. but dude, I love those designs. And I if you are an artist and you want to work with me, if there's something that you want to do, I'm always down to write comics for more people. I have an extremely flexible page rate. If you ever just want to hire me to write your idea, I'm always open to do that. Famously, how The Digger happened, it wasn't me going with the script to Sam Goodall and going, Sam, I need you to draw my special idea. I loved Sam's work. I wanted to work with him. He had seen some of my stuff. He wanted to work with me. I pitched him a bunch of stories, and he said he did not like any of those pitches. And so I asked him what he wanted to draw. What was his dream project? And he pitched me something Mesoamerican and pulpy, and in kind of action thriller oriented. And then I came back with What If Indiana Jones Hunted Shortround. So that was kind of a labor of love for both of us, and that's how we ended up working together. So I'm always open to write something special for somebody else. I did hire an artist to draw some of my bonus materials that come with each book. Oh, that's awesome. Heck yeah, Pax, thank you so much for being patient with me. I'm sorry it took so long to email you back. No, thank you for sharing with us, Bad Guy Entertainment. I appreciate you. Agony says, I'm off to work. Stay awesome. We'll sketch anthropomorphic for posts. Thank you so much, Agony. Have a good one, Ben. Oh, man. I feel like I've been talking for like an hour. I'm so sorry for everybody who's been watching. Is there anybody else that has any questions about writing comics, getting your own comic books published, anything like that I can help with? Or are there any other comic books that you think I should be checking out this week on my pull list? This dude just won't leave me alone. He's constantly everywhere. Dude, I am everywhere, Kevin. You are correct. Go check out Kevin Davis's comic books. Plug them in the chat if you see it. I'm heading to work too. Oh, have a good one, Bleeding Ink. Bad Guy says, any writing tips? Well, if there's any specific questions you can ask, I could definitely help you with writing tips. The big one that I say every single time I go live, whether I'm, on here or, talking on somebody's podcast, is read more. If you're going to write a comic book, you need to be reading comics. If you're going to write a novel, you need to be reading a novel. Read comics every day if you can, but it's hard to have output without having input. And I am far from the first person to say that, and I will say it with my whole chest. It's really important, I think. Uzar says, I've been tinkering on making my first comic, but I'm leading on being a web comic only, then print, once there is demand. That's totally fair. If I could give you a piece of advice, it's unsolicited, so I apologize if you don't want to hear it. It's just make the comic book first, worry about where it's going later. Make the best comic book you can, and then find a home for it. If you're going to do Webtoon, I think that that's a great place to start, and just say I'm going to put it there and worry about demand later, because Webtoon is free. You can host it there, and you can just go for it right away, and you don't have to stress about, I'm going to pitch it to this publisher, or take it there, or get it printed. You can just post it as soon as it's ready. So I think that's a good idea. But don't stress about where it's going to go. Just make an awesome comic first. The only thing that you have to worry about, if you're thinking about where's it going to go once it's done, is the format of your book. Because if you're going to make it for Webtoon, you have two choices. You can do the page format, right, where they click next, or you can do the Webtoon, infinite scroll, which is just a different format when you're drawing it and putting it together. So just keep that in mind. But otherwise, just go make a book and worry about where you're going to put it later on. Because honestly, that's secondary. That part doesn't matter as much. If you make a cool comic, people are going to find it. And if you make just an okay comic, people will still be interested, because making comic books is hard. And you'd be surprised what some people read. I've read a lot of bad comic books in my day, in my opinion. Art is subjective, but ones that I thought were bad. And it was still cool to see. There's always something to learn from a comic book. And I know people who are massive fans of those comics. So don't stress too much about any of that stuff. Just make it first. The rest will come. Wilzer says, I'm also working on my own story on the side. Oh, that's rad, dude. Are you writing it too? You doing both? Because if I could ever give anybody a piece of advice when it comes to, breaking into comic books, so much easier to do if you're a cartoonist. If you're going to write and draw your own comic book, the world is your oyster if you can do both well, right? I can't do both well or in a timely fashion, so that's why I just write comics. But if you can do both, man, you can break in so much easier. There's so much more demand on it. Yes, writing and art, going to be a wild ride. Dude, I mean, that's awesome. More power to you. Do that instead of working with writers like me, man. Like, not to talk myself out of a gig, but if you can do both and do it well, you don't need me. And you're going to get way more opportunities and be able to sell yourself a lot easier to publishers, if that's where you want to work, right? I talk about working with publishers because that's my goal, is I want to work with bigger and more publishers. So that's always the way that I'm going to look at it, right? Yeah, I always need you, T.S. I need you too, Will, sir. Dude, we'll link up one day when you're free and you have a little bit more time. We'll definitely do something, because your art style is amazing, and I love to hear that you're writing for yourself. That's so cool. If you ever want to talk about the idea, either on here or offline, I'd love to hear it. Usar says, yes, I'm building my own website as well. Hope you can give it a look and feedback once I build it. Yeah, I'd definitely love to. Come back to me when you have stuff to show off, and I'll definitely check it out. That's always my thing. Like, when things are hypothetical, I still get a lot of pitches for it. Like, hey, I have this idea for a comic. And the most I can do, it's not me trying to be rude, is I can just give you a thumbs up and go, cool. Because that's all I can do, right? I can't tell you if an idea is good or bad. And it doesn't really matter if it's a good or bad idea, because it's all in the execution. So once you have stuff to show off, please come back. And if you want feedback, I'll give it to you. If you just want me to see it, I'm totally down to look at it just purely from a fan aspect. I love reading stuff, and, I built my own website. I don't think it looks amazing. It's the link in my bio. You can go and check it out. It's can'tbekilledcreations.com. I built it in Squarespace. It's mostly a link tree. I just copied a link tree format and put all of my famous links up front, and then you can click around the page and see my bio, my portfolio, and then links to all of my socials. But building a hosting website for your comic book is a good idea if you just want to get more ideas on it. But put your comic book, your new one that you're working on for yourself, just to do it, put it everywhere you can if you want people to see it. That's always the best way. Put it on Webtoon, put it on Global Comics, put it on Tapas, put it anywhere that you can put a free comic book, because that's how you're going to get more eyes on it. I don't know what your end goal is, but if you want people to see your book, that's how you do it. It's hard when you do an indie comic and you want as many people to get it as possible, and then you charge for it and nobody wants to buy it because nobody's heard of you. Even if you have an amazing pitch for an idea, it's hard. One of the crazier things is The Digger is probably my most expensive comic book, right? I think it's $6.99 in stores. But because it's in stores, because it's from a legitimate publisher that people have heard of, because it's at shops that they like to go to, it's sold better than any book I have ever created. And it didn't matter what the price was really, as long as it wasn't exorbitant. It was because it passed through all those gatekeepers that people use to trust. We can throw fits as amateur and indie people all we want about gatekeepers controlling it, but consumers, people who have to spend their hard-earned money, appreciate gatekeepers because they make sure the product that they're paying for isn't a waste of time. That's what you can count on. The reason why we buy comic books from Image Comics is because we know Image isn't going to put out a subpar product, right? I know it's not going to be on bad paper. I know they're not going to hire people who don't know how to make a comic book. Amongst a million other things. But as a consumer, that's why I shop from those publishers. So, when you're an indie guy, when you're amateur, when you're self-publishing, nobody has that trust in you. And that's not a knock on you. They're not doing it personally. You just haven't done anything to show them that they can trust you. So you need to put it as free as possible or as cheap as possible in as many places as possible to start to earn that audience and earn their trust. I tried to post my art daily, says Wilser, but missed the last couple of days. Algorithm probably hates me now. Dude, the algorithm does, I take Sundays off often because my kids are home, my wife's home, and I want to spend time with them. Me and my roommates get to hang out on Sundays. I have a niece and nephew that live with me, and I get to see them on Sundays. So, I try to hang out with my family on Sundays. And I'm not getting a million work emails on Sundays is a big part. It makes it easier to take those days off. And I don't often post on Sundays, and if I do, it's just the small enough post to keep the algorithm happy, keep all the social media going. And when you don't, you feel it. Like today, I'm going to post a video probably around 5 o'clock, and it's probably going to be lower on hits because I didn't feed the beast on Sunday. But that's just part of it. It all depends on what your goals are. I only have 2,000-ish followers on social media. If you count all the different socials, closer to 5,000, I guess, but there's a lot of overlap in them. So I'm an extremely small creator in that way, but every single person who follows me for comic book content, follows me knowing I'm going to talk about my comic books, follows me knowing I'm going to talk about comic books in general. So I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm just trying to meet more people who might be interested in my comic books. So having 2,000 really loyal followers has helped. So, while I don't always feed the algorithm to meet new people, I think the people who do follow me are getting enough content to stay with me, and it still feeds it to enough people to where my audience still grows steadily and according to the people that would buy my comics. I was out of state for my son's volleyball, so I was just too tired. And that's the thing, right? That's the reality of it. The good news is, Wilser, right, is you're not setting out to be a social media influencer. That's not your end goal. I don't think. I could be wrong, right? And you still have a pretty good following when it comes to people who like comic book art and tokusatsu art. So I think that you're still doing extremely well. I'd just like more people to see my art to make more people smile and maybe connect, That's totally fair. And I still think you're reaching a ton of people. But if that's the goal, man, that is something like the Feed the Beast thing. Have you thought about using platforms that allow you to schedule your stuff and put up content passively when you're not unavailable, where you can schedule your posts a little bit more often? Even inside a lot of the different apps now have scheduling, so you could put up a post draft and schedule it for the day that you're not going to be available to do it by hand. Usar says, do you ever search for other people to get inspo on what videos to make? Search, no. I mean, I'm like a lot of people my age. I do the doom scroll. I watch a lot of TikTok and Instagram and all the other platforms and see other stuff. But because of my content being so niche, every once in a while, It's like I'll go along with the trend and I'll do like a dance video or something. But for the most part, my videos don't really fit into any of that other stuff. That's partly why I'm such a smaller creator. Is I just get on here and I'll pitch you a comic book, or I'll talk about something like a tip that I learned, or what I'm doing right now, or fill you in on a story that I'm doing. So I don't often. I probably should. If I wanted to grow better on these platforms as a creator, I probably should look up more people deliberately to go, what content should I make? But it's just not a thing I stress about. I make sure I post a video every day. If I allow myself to not make a video, it's on Sundays. And most of it is just me marketing my books and talking to my awesome fans and my friends on mutuals here on those social media platforms. So I don't often search out new stuff. I probably should, though. Well, sorry, I just like more people. Yeah, exactly, man. It is hard to like keep up with the social media beast, and that's partly sometimes why I do lives, is because I couldn't think of a video, and I like wanted to talk to more people live and have a conversation, because I'm better at a conversation than I am at making a video. You can probably tell, like, when I do a video, I seem a little bit stilted, even though I'm not reading from cue cards or anything like that. It probably seems like I am, like it's a different cadence in my voice. I've been told I'm really awkward in a video and I'm much better in the room. I'm still a very awkward guy in the room, but I do much better talking off the cuff and in a live in a conversation like this than I do making videos. I'm a terrible actor. I'm just no good, very, very bad at it. So I will say that it's easier for me to go live and to just talk to all you awesome people than it is for me to make up a new video that's going to entertain. And when I do make videos, I'm only ever targeting people who would be interested in reading my comics, or the people who are interested in making their own comics. I don't really worry about entertaining everybody else, because I probably wouldn't be very good at it. That's not the thing that I'm interested in. Kiku says, I'm going to leave now. Check out my art. Whoa Studio. Yes, definitely go do that. Thanks for hanging out, Kiku. By pull, do you mean which comics we want the most? Because I want all of DC Rebirth and Absolute runs. That is what I mean, Electric Barbie. When I talk about pull list, that's what we call the list that you want your comic book shop to pull off the shelf for you. That's why it's called the pull list. They pull it off the shelf and set it aside for you at your local comic book shop. So it's what you're going to pick up this Wednesday at the comic book store on New Comic Book Day. And that's a great list. DC Rebirth was a lot of fun back in the day, and Absolute runs. I'm loving every single Absolute comic. I love what they've done for the new universe. Their Ultimate Universe basically has been so rad, and I love how much love they put into it. And I love just the entire idea behind the Absolute Universe being a little bit darker and a little bit on the side of the little guy. And I think that it's a better take for someone like Batman or Wonder Woman or Superman, etc. My favorite Absolute book, if I can't pick Wonder Woman, Batman, or Superman, because those are the originals, it's got to be the Green Lantern one, though. The Green Lantern Absolute book is just incredible, and my favorite thing from Green Lanterns, period. I just started using TikTok more recently this year, but have been mainly on X or Instagram. TikTok is draining. TikTok is draining. TikTok, takes a lot of work, but I think you put too much pressure on yourself, Wilser. Put up your art, put up, a time lapse that you've already done somewhere else. That's okay. Just put up stuff every day if you can. When it comes to TikTok, don't worry about putting up 3 videos a day. Don't stress about that. TikTok doesn't have to be stressful. It only is if you have really lofty goals and you want to be the biggest creator on here. Otherwise, TikTok is really, really awesome. It's a great platform. I don't use X because I don't like a lot of the community that's on there. I find it a little bit offensive on what they've allowed on that platform, so I don't really mess with that. I like Instagram. I do like Blue Sky, and I use Threads because Threads integrates with Instagram really easily. And I just toss everything I put on Instagram over to Threads. But if you're going to post, I would say do the best you can to reuse your assets. The same video you put up on any of those other social media, it would be perfect for TikTok. And just keep that in mind. Try to stop yourself from burning out. I did that for a while. I was trying to be the best I could on every single social media platform, and what I found was it stopped me from doing the work. I was doing more stuff on here instead of my writing, and I was getting less gigs because I was worried more about the social media platforms, and that didn't help my career at all. So it's more of a bonus thing. I make sure I come on here every day and talk about the stuff that I'm selling. I make sure I plug the Digger, which you can pre-order right now at your local comic book shop. It's basically What If Indiana Jones Hunted Shortround. It's my new book from Invader Comics with Sam Goodlin, my co-creator and artist on the project. Please go and ask for it at your local comic book shop this Wednesday. I do that on here every day. The rest of it is working on my comic books. Speaking of Green Lantern, they really effed over John Stewart, the best Lantern. I agree, best Lantern. Growing up with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, always going to be my Lantern. Him and Kyle Rayner, of course. And I agree that they did, but I still love the story that they're telling with that. X is pretty toxic nowadays. I'm not too active in there lately. Yeah, that's exactly my thing. I'm back, says Sketching the Beast. Also sent you my email address. Oh, heck yeah, dude. Thank you. I didn't know you were on Blue Sky too. Are we connected on there, man? Last love. Yeah, I love the plugs. Gotta plug, man. Gotta do the marketing. That's the, partly why I'm on social media in the first place. But I don't think that we are, Will, sir. Let's make sure that you add me on there. You can find, if you search up T.S. Luther, I'm the only one. So, it's still a small enough platform where I'm really easy to find. And, please add me and I'll add you back. John Stewart is the GOAT. I made a new account and I plan to start making content, but I know it's going to be uncomfortable. I'm ready to look awkward. Listen, if I can be the poster child for awkward, I am really afraid of public speaking. I'm really afraid of doing these videos. I'm not good at it, as you probably know. You've seen my content. Even with the lives, like I'm so sweaty right now. I can't tell you how much I sweat. I know it seems like I'm off the cuff. I'm so nervous talking to all of you. It's so exciting and nerve-wracking that you want to come and hang out with me when I do these, and I'm so thankful for you doing it, but I am extremely nervous, so don't feel bad if you're nervous or going to be awkward. I'm doing it the same way. I don't know if anybody else is, but know that I'm right there with you. This is the part that I'm bad at. I used to play in bands. I don't talk about this very much. I was in punk bands and ska bands in the mid-2000s, and we played some larger shows, and I always wore sunglasses. As a lead singer, people thought it was to look cool. It was because I was so afraid of the audience. I would close my eyes for the entire set, and no one could tell because I wore sunglasses. And I can't do that when I'm on here. It's not a good look. People want to see you and know. So my eyes are open, and I'm really, really nervous talking to everybody. There's 8 people in here, 5 or 6 people over here, 2 or 3 people over here, and I'm like shaking. Because I'm just a nervous dude, so don't feel bad about that. You could get a social media to take over while you do the meat of the work. I would love to do that, Electric Barbie, except for that costs money that I don't have. As a smaller comic book creator, there's no money. There's no money for me, let alone for me to share with more people. Any money that I do make does go to my artists that I work with, because they're awesome, or the publishers who pay for the printing of my comic books. I have nothing left to give to a social media manager. Well, I would love that. If I had money to spare, that's definitely somewhere where I would put it. But I just don't have that. It's all something that I have to do myself. So you get the crappy, not so good at social media that I put out. Plus, I think that's enough. You don't want to see more of me, Like, some of my comic books, I think that people might want to see more of that. But me talking about other stuff or more stuff, I think that would be a recipe for disaster. Just because I'm not that interesting of a guy past that. The most interesting thing about me is that I write comic books. So if I got a manager and I was doing more social media, man, you would just see how much ramen I eat, and it's way too much. I had some bulldog ramen yesterday with some ham and a special sauce that I made. It was delicious, but that's the kind of stuff that you'd see. That's not entertaining. Talking Comics says, "Hey, you are doing great, inspiring others." Oh, thank you so much, dude. Oh, I have an email for you, dude. I'm really excited about your trailer. I really, really like the pitch. I'm sorry I didn't respond in the email yet. I was out of town this weekend visiting my mom. She lives in the middle of the woods, Michigan. Even more of the middle of nowhere than I do. And there was no reception the entire time. I had to respond to like 1,000 emails and text messages when I got back into town this morning. Also, give me a tip or inside scoop on Mr. Fish. I'm interviewing him this evening. You're interviewing Mr. Fish. So ask him why he changes my scripts when I send them to him. Ask him why he doesn't want the gold that I send him. That's the big tip. But for real, Mr. Fish is one of my best friends. Love that dude. I get to write his series Alice Lost in Wonderland. Go check it out. He's just about to ship issue 3, and we're working on issue 4. It's basically, what if Alice got lost in Wonderland and never went home, and she stays there so long she becomes an interdimensional bounty hunter. It's very Deadpool meets Alice Lost in Wonderland if you're looking for kind of a vibe there. It's a really awesome book. But Fish is super kind. Ask him about all the stuff he did before he was doing comics, because he's done comics for a really long time, but he's also lived an entire life. He was a carpenter. He was disabled for a long time and wheelchair ridden, and his recovery story is incredibly inspiring. And he's just the nicest guy. He's a foster parent, he's an adoptive father, he's a biological father. He's had so many amazing jobs. Mr. Fish is all around one of the best dudes and one of the most talented people I know in comics. And he's done over 150 comic books. I think he's getting close to 200 comics that he is either lettered, drawn the art for, or written. And he's incredibly talented. So ask him about all that stuff, and ask him why he hasn't finished our book that we're pitching called Lord of the Manor, which is basically Battle Royale meets Monster Squad. So it's about this small town that gets invaded by monsters, and it's where they battle it out to see who takes over Dracula's throne. He's supposed to be coloring that for me right now as we speak, but instead he's doing interviews with Talkin' Comics podcast, which you should go listen to. It's an amazing comic book podcast with a father and a daughter who are going on their comic book journey, and it's just the coolest, most heartfelt show I've ever listened to. But yeah, I hope that helps. Those are the inside tips I have. Oh, I'm glad. I think the best way to put it out is on your YouTube, on all of the different social media platforms. Just put it out and say, I'm pitching my comic. Sketch of the Beast says, haha, ramen is hood and some chicken to get protein and keep it cheap. I mean, that's exactly it, right? Ramen can feed a very, very large family, which is what I do. It's very, very fancy ramen. I will say it's not straight out of the box. I do a lot of fancy stuff. My father was a professional chef. And I take cooking very seriously. So does my wife. So do my roommates. So we eat very well in my house. We're poor, but we eat fancy because we take a lot of time and prep, and plan it out that way. Usar says, I think you're doing great. We wouldn't be able to tell you're nervous talking right now if you don't say it. Oh, that means a lot, dude. Thank you. So again, not to let you too far behind the curtain, but when I turn off these lives, I have to go and change my shirt. I'm so sweaty because I've been so nervous, and I don't know why it is. I think it's because I'm just so grateful that people want to talk and hang out, and I never thought anyone would read my comic books ever, let alone people develop a fandom there or enjoy them or enjoy me enough to come and talk and hang out. And you're all my friends, you're all awesome, and I appreciate every one of you. I'm not crying, don't worry about it. But I think that's why I'm so nervous, is I want to make sure that you're not wasting your time when you stop by and say hi. I want to make sure everybody gets something out of this, even if it's just, some company. But it means a lot to me that this is where you spend your time, whether it's buying my comic books or hanging out, watching my videos, or talking to me on a live. I don't want you to waste your time because our time is finite and it's important. And in today's economy, it's one of the only resources we all still have. The plot sounds amazing. I love it. Oh yeah, dude. I love that comic book. It was all Fish's idea. I just write the thing. I have roommates too. They don't pay for nothing and just eat everything. They're my kids. Oh, I have those too. But I live in the later seasons of Full House, so we always say we have 2 dads, 2 moms, two big sisters, 2 little brothers, 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a partridge in a pear tree. Because there's 2 families in our household, and we all cook, and the kids all eat it, and they don't contribute anything except for amazing vibes. My kids are amazing, and I'm so glad that I can grant them the privilege of not having to pitch in, because as a kid, even though I was really poor, I didn't have to have a job, because my parents made ends meet. It was tough, but they did make it work. So I didn't have to have a job until I was 15, 16, and I was living on my own. And I want that for my kids. I don't want them living on their own at 15 or 16, but I want them to not have to have a part-time job to help contribute to the household. I want them to just be able to eat and not have to learn how to cook for themselves, other than enjoyment. I teach my daughter how to cook because I love cooking and I want her to enjoy it. I don't want her to have to do it to survive. Gardening helps with my nerves. I'm okay. This is gonna be the most lame thing. I used to garden, and I found out the reason why I don't, and amongst many other reasons, I'm just not a big fan of it for myself. I have no judgment towards any of it. Is I'm slightly allergic. I have a sensitivity to it, so I really don't. I really don't do any substances. I'm so boring. I used to party, and then I became a dad, is what I tell people. But like, I don't do anything like that. It probably would help my nerves. But yeah, I'm so boring. You're a good dude. Thank you so much, Sketching the Beast. Ditto. I'm homesick from work today, so I'm glad I had the opportunity to catch your live, man. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so sorry that you're sick. I hope you feel better. I hope it's nothing too serious. A lot of people in my household, again, because there's 8 of us, a lot of us were just sick. I somehow managed to not get too sick, but my daughter still has a cough, and my son, is on the mend, and the little ones, my niece and nephew, also are feeling a little bit rough right now. It's partly we live in the Midwest. It gets cold, and like all of the sicknesses come out of the woodwork all at the same time. But the holidays are almost here. The kids are going to be off from school. More time for recovery and just to be able to relax. Hopefully, I can get a lot of these scripts that are due done. And issue 4 of The Digger is almost up and done, so I can just take my time and just plug more projects and market these things than have to write constantly. That is sadly, like, that is the fun part for me. I love talking to you guys, but marketing, I've told you I'm so nervous. It's so stressful because you got to make sure the book sells well. And so I have this really small window where I just get to write stuff for a little while. And then starting in January, I'm doing signings for The Digger at local comic book shops. And then I have 9 cons that I'm going to over spring and into summer. And I'm so nervous because I even though I've done a few now, it's just not a thing I'm used to. I was actually invited to be a special guest at a con in New Baltimore, which is a smaller town here in Michigan, and like they put my name up on the poster, and I'm like shaking thinking about that. Like I don't know how many people I'm gonna bring into their store. I'm in the Midwest, also Nebraska, so I feel the weather. Oh, you get it then, dude. It's so cold. Where did it come from? Is this about books? It is about books. You're in Michigan? Oh, you're near Port Huron? That's so cool. I'm a comic book writer. My name's T.S. and I write comics. That's my whole thing. My new book, The Digger, is available in comic book shops right now to pre-order. It's basically What If Indiana Jones Hunted Shortround. I'm doing signings for the book at Vault of Midnight Comics in Detroit, January 17th. The book hits store shelves January 14th. Most comic book shops here in Michigan are going to be carrying it. So if you didn't get a chance to pre-order issue 1, you can go pre-order issue 2. They'll probably have issue 1 available in January because there's not a whole ton of people from Michigan putting out books at the moment in their shops. So you'll probably be able to get it. What's your local shop though in Port Huron? Where's the place that I should be talking to? Yeah, man, plug the book and upcoming work. I need to do it more often. Wait, why is Indy hunting a small child? Dude, that's the book. You gotta go and check it out. It's basically What If Indiana Jones was the bad guy is kind of the pitch of The Digger. He's a treasure hunter and he wants to go find these Olmec ruins, and this small child in this village in Veracruz, Mexico in the 1930s knows where the ruins are. And nobody else will guide the Americans, so he will because he needs the money for his sick grandma. But he doesn't know how evil the Digger is, and he doesn't understand that the Digger doesn't share. And so you gotta read and find out why the Digger is evil. Why is Indy the bad guy? Dude, we're gonna blow up with whatever we work on together. Oh, heck yeah, dude, I'd love to hear that. Nice, I'll try to be there. I used to interview authors. Maybe I'll reach out and start it. Oh, heck yeah, dude, I would love to. Please, always hit me up, man. I'm always down to talk to people. DTCM, how are you doing? I hope everyone is doing well as well. I hope you're having a good day. Before I go, I gotta know, DTCM, what are you picking up this Wednesday on your pull list? Same thing for you, ADHD reader. What are you picking up this Wednesday? That was what the whole point of the stream was, and I got lost in the plugging all of my comic books and making sure, the Invader Comics people are happy because I'm selling more of my books. But yeah, you let me know what you're reading, what you're picking up this Wednesday before I dip. Electric Barbie. I doubt my local shop has your book. I'm near Irontown, Ohio. Oh, you'd be surprised. Invader Comics said it sold really well. I think we had over 1,500 pre-orders, which is amazing for a first-time in-stores comic book writer like myself and Sam Gudelin, who's from Europe and nobody had heard of him here. So I think that it's going to be doing pretty well. They might have it at your local shop, but if they don't and you're interested in reading it, go in and ask about it. You can always get issue 1 online, when it comes out, and make sure you pre-order issue 2 right now so they carry the rest of the series for you. It's only a 4-issue miniseries, so it's not a huge commitment, but Invader Comics is getting a lot bigger. We're in the Lunar catalog, which is the biggest catalog for comic books at stores right now. They kind of took over for Diamond when Diamond went out of business. So we're in the big catalog, we're in the massive section, so go and check it out. 1000% Absolute Batman number 15. I just cleared out my pull list yesterday. It was some old stuff. Listen, Absolute Batman, so good. Gotta pick that up. I love everything from the Absolute universe. I've said it about a million times. Are you picking up any trades? Can I recommend Maniac of New York? Go check that out if you can, from Aftershock Comics. It's so good. I'm trying to think of other singles that I'm going to be picking up this week. Is everybody reading FML from Kelly Sue DeConnick? Because that has also been incredible. Now I'm grabbing random books and reading a bunch of scripts, and you can 1000%. My toxic trait is thinking I could be Absolute Wonder Woman's girlfriend. Hey, I don't like what. Why is that a toxic trait? You never know. She's awesome. If you're awesome, you could have a chance. I think you just, you gotta aim for the stars. That's the thing. When I look at my wife is so far out of my league. She's the kindest, most beautiful person on this planet. I'm why does she schlub it with me? I have no idea. So if I can end up with my amazing wife, you can end up with Wonder Woman. So, never, never stop yourself from meeting the woman of your dreams. Also, you have good taste in Absolute Wonder Woman. All right, everybody, I do have to go. I have to go pick up my kids from school. Thank you so much for hanging out, talking with me. Please go and pre-order The Digger issue 2 at your local comic book shop. Even if you haven't picked up issue 1 or pre-ordered it, it's probably going to be at your shop. You'll probably be able to get your hands on issue number 1. It really helps if you continue to pre-order all issues, so we can make sure we get to that trade and make sure that you can read the entire story of The Digger from me and Sam Gudelin. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will talk to you all soon. Have a good one, Will Sir. I appreciate you, dude. Let's stay in touch and find me on Blue Sky. Bye, everybody.